Okay, let's start. We're learning today Chelik Gimel, the first Sicha of Parsha Nosei. Ois Aleph, Kimeduber Kama Po'amim, Haklal Shartedi Nitzchis. The Rebbe says that I spoke many times that this klal, that the Torah is eternal, betokfoi hu benegei l'chol Torah kula. This klal, that the Torah is eternal, is in full strength at every detail of the Torah. Here the Rebbe is assigned to Tanya Pedikut Zayin, but actually Kuntus Achren, the fifth Siman of Kuntus Achren elaborates more at the end, and every prat, the klal of prat, a Torah nitzchis. Now when we say Torah nitzchis, some people learn that it's different than the ninth animamin. The ninth animamin, which the Rambam says of the 13 animamins, he says the ninth one is our Torah lo tiyeh muchlefes. The Torah won't be changed. And some say that the word for Torah nitzchis that the Rebbe says is stronger than the line that the Torah lo tiyeh muchlefes. Torah won't change. The same thing will be. Torah nitzchis, the Rebbe is emphasizing that the hayras of Torah is eternal, and every time and every place we have a lesson from the Torah. So the Rebbe says, Gam ha'inyanim shebetorah, even those inyanim asher begashmius eina bizmanenu, even those inyanim in Torah, which physically it's not in our days, nevertheless nimtzoim heim gam achshav beruch miyusam. Nevertheless, they still exist in a spiritual sense, and Rebbe adds in a bracket, Varei haruchnius hu mokor v'sheidish agashmius. Rebbe says that Torah nitzchis doesn't necessarily mean begashmius physically. Every story in the Torah happens now, but every story in the Torah and every incident in the Torah exists today. Beruchnius, and Rebbe adds not only ruchnius is a lower sense, but the ruchnius is the mokor of gashmius. So if we say that exists in the Ruchnis, we can for sure say that Torah is Nitzchis. It could be it's not the Gashmis, but it's the Ruchnis, and the Ruchnis is Mokra of Gashmis. Next paragraph. In our Parsha, the same thing is what's said in our Parsha, the Parsha of Nosei, Minyan b'nei Gershon b'nei Merari. We know that the Levim were counted twice. First, the Levim were counted from a month old, and then a second count in the Levim was now, Parsha Nosei, and the end of Parsha Bamidbar. Parsha Nosei was the count of Bnei Gershon and Bnei Merari. Paschalosi, the beginning of the count, Hanem and Amer is the same Parsha Akidemis, the beginning of the second count of the Levim, which was said at the end of the previous Parsha, Parsha Bamidbar, Minyan Bnei Kohos, Hamistayim, the Parsha say no. Says the Rebbe, we know there's a second counting. The second counting of Levim are Bnei Gershon and Bnei Kohos, Bnei Gershon and Bnei Merari in Parsha Nosei, and Bnei Kohos in Parsha Bamidbar. The Rebbe later on is going to explain in order why isn't it according to the order of the way they were born. The way they were born is Gershon, Kohos, and Merari. Why is Kohos in Parsha Bamidbar and Gershon and Merari here? But nevertheless, these three sections obvious, but the obvious of Levim, Sha'av shebegashmis einon inyan nitzchi, even though that physically it's not an eternal act that we count the household of Bnei Merari or Bnei Gershon or Bnei Kohos, Shahoyo hatzivui lamanoisam, that the commandment to count them wasn't today, it's only then. V'haminyan atzmei, and the counting itself was rak pam achas, only once. B'shona shenis, the second year, l'tzeisim eretz Mitzrayim. Even though the actual commandment to count, and as the Rebbe divides into two groups, the commandment to count and the actual counting only happened once. The second year of leaving Mitzrayim. So that's nevertheless ha'inyan beruchniusay, but the tzivur, the commandment of counting the Levim a second time, and the actual counting in Ruchni, the spiritual nitzchi, is eternal. The whole day in every generation. In our generation, we have a commandment to count Levi, And not only a commandment, we have actually the obligation to do it. We have to count Levi. The Rebbe is going to explain, everybody can become a Levi. This us out. So us out, the Rebbe says, the Torah is eternal, even those pratim of the Torah, which seems to be happened once in the time of the Torah, nevertheless, it's eternal. Us base. So we have to understand, what does it mean counting B'nai Levi today's times in our generation? Says the Rebbe us base, the Yubim Zeh, we will understand that Behagdim, the Rebbe says, I'm going to explain that question by prefacing another question. Lama hutzerhu Yisrael Yishoy Bamidbar Arboim Shana. Rebbe underlines Bamidbar. Why did the Eden have to remain in the Midbar for 40 years? Hey, Nemes, that's true. Shaydechei Tameraglim. According after the Chet, the sin of the Meraglim, Nigzer Aleim, the Eibishter was Geisel on them. Shalei Konsul Eretz Arboim Shana, the Eden cannot come into Mitzrayim, come into Israel for 40 years. Yom Lashana, for every day the Meraglim were in Israel. And they came back with a bad report. For every one day, they have a year not to go to Israel. Says the Rebbe, Rag Israel. The Gzeda was only that they cannot enter Israel. And the Rebbe adds in a bracket, they have an evade, the chet was, the Meraglim came back with a bad report, and they said, we don't want to go to Israel. Because they did not want to go to Israel, so the Eibishter gave him einish. You don't want to, don't go take. Says the Rebbe, Midah connected Midah. Measurement for measurement. They did not want to go in, but the Knesset don't go in. But here the Rebbe adds, but why in the Midbar? True, they can't go, their punishment was not to go to Israel. Well, why did they have to remain in the Midbar? And I want to add, maybe the Rebbe is adding that this is more than Midah connected Midah. Midah connected Midah means they don't want to go in, don't go in. But why an extra einish to remain in the Midbar? And the Rebbe continues. There could have been for these 40 years in a place, an inhabited place, Israel. The Eibishter could have taken them to a different land where there's people they're living there. It's Yahshua, it's not Israel. Why did they have to stay in Midbar? Midbar, why Midbar? Or Befrat says the Rebbe, what kind of Midbar? The Midbar HaGodel v'Hanoira Nochosh Soro v'Akrov. It's a Midbar, a vast desert, and the Midbar that has there snakes and scorpions, all kind of bad choshim. And to that, v'tzimoin, it's such a thirst, Ash'emayim, there's no water to be gotten there. That Rebbe Lkutei explains that Nochosh, Soro, v'Akrov, these are the three Remozim on Sholish Klippus at Meis. But the Rebbe's question here in this paragraph is of us based, why was it necessary that the Eden should stay in a Midbar? They lost the right to go to Israel. Let them stay in another Mokim Yishuv. Says the Rebbe, that Rebbe explains Lkutei, Reish Parsha Seinu, in the beginning of our Parsha. In our Parsha, there are 3 Maimorim of talking about the Masois. The Rebbe, Parsha Masa here, the beginning of Parsha Nosoi, that Rebbe explains, Shetam Nisi Osam B'Midbar. What's the reason that the Eden had to travel in the desert? Ima Mishkan B'Kelov. We're carrying the Levim had to carry the Mishkan B'Kelov that we knew that the B'nai Mirodi, B'nai Gershom, B'nai Koz that were carrying the Mishkan B'Kelov. What was the reason? That Rebbe Hoya Kidei Lahachnia Koyach Yinikes Achitzenim. That was the reason for, in order to get the Chitzenim, to be machnia them, to overpower the Chitzenim, which was Sheshedish Yinikosem Hubamidbaf, the Shedish of the Yinike. As I said before, the Rebbe says, Nochosh Soro ve'Akrov resembles Sholish Klippus Atmeis. So in order to conquer them, the Eden had to come to the Midbar and carry the Mishkan V'Kelim. The Mishkan V'Kelim was the power that you had to overpower the Klippa, be machnia them, and that's why they had to be in in the Midbar. Says the Rebbe, we say the Mizu. The Rebbe adds something to what the Rebbe writes in Lkutei. Al Yidei Sheichnius HaChitzeinim, through the fact that they overpowered the Chitzeinim, the HaChoshech HaMaster, and the Choshech that's covered, Hoimam Shichim Gile Lakus. The Rebbe in the Maimer says that the fact that the Eden were in the Midbar and they overpowered the Shalosh Kibsat Meyes, that made the Midbar already placed for what? That La'asid Love should be Giluim there. The Rebbe adds, not only La'asid Love, but now, during the time that the Eden were in Midbar and they overpowered the Chitzeinim, then already there are Mamshech Gilul Lakus. The Rebbe explains in Lkutei that we know all the hashpos, good hashpos of the world comes through Yerushalayim. The Eibishter gives all the Shefa to Yerushalayim, and from Yerushalayim it disperses the whole world. The Rebbe says in Lkutei, the contrast of Yerushalayim is the Midbar. All the negative of the world goes through the Midbar, comes to the Midbar, and from the Midbar it disperses the whole world. So if I conquer the Midbar HaGodel, which has in Nochash, Sor, V'Ak, if I conquer that, I conquer all the Ra. So the Rebbe, Ubechdei, Lifer, Zeh, in order to accomplish that, to conquer the Sholosh Kibsat Meis, Nochash, Sor, V'Akrav, Hutzerhu Liyis, B'Midbar, Mem Shoner. That's why the Eden had to be in the Midbar for 40 years. But the Rebbe answers the question, the question was, why did the Eden have to stay in the Midbar? Let him stay in another Yishuv, not at Yisrael. And the Rebbe answered that the fact that they had to be in the Midbar was for another reason. That wasn't the punishment. That was their tafkin in the world. The tafkin of the Eden is levarer ha'olam, to make the world that is dira b'tachteinim. And how do you make the world dira b'tachteinim? You get rid of the negev, you get rid of the klippa. So they were there to get rid of the klippa. It took 40 years to get rid of the klippa. Rebbe in Har 8. Let's know the Rebbe in Har 8. In Har 8, the Rebbe says a gewaltige word. Uma she'ilule hachet hamaragel loy hoyu tzrichim liyis b'midim memshana. But the Rebbe asks, if according to what we just explained, that the whole reason why they had to be in the Midbar was not a oynish, just because they had to do birurim. So what would have happened if there would not be a chet meraglim? What would have happened? They had to be in the Midbar anyway. Says the Rebbe, Yeshloimad Misha'or's Hoya Habirur Ba'oifen Acher. Then the bitter was in a different way. The bitter of the world before, if it hadn't been the Chet HaMeragel, it would be a different way. I might learn my own ha'or over here, might be that it could be the birurim would have been quicker. The Eden had to go from Mitzrayim to Eretz Yisrael. It would have taken 3 days, whatever would have taken a week. So they would be Mavara the Midbar in a short time. Once Chet HaMeraglim happened, then the bitter took 40 years. Al-Derech explains why in Chutzlor we have 2 days Yom Tiv, and at Yisrael 1 day Yom Tiv, because at Yisrael they can accept the Giluim in 1 day. In Golus, we're not a caliph to accept all those Giluim of Yom Tiv. We have to accept it spread out in 2 days. So maybe Pshat is that without, if it wouldn't be the Chet HaMeraglim, they would be able to be invited all of it in a short time. Mashiach Chet HaMeraglim, they have to be invited 40 years. That's what I would learn Pshat in the Rebbe said. Now the Rebbe says a Sigraim, Val derech ha-mevur b'teira'ir b'negei l'chedet hadas. The Rebbe Teira'ir explains the Shaila. The Rebbe says the Chayrim, the avodas ha'odam after when Adam and Ish was sent out of Gan Eden, now starts a new avodah b'zeyas hapecha teichal lechem. You have to sweat, you have to sow and plow and sow and seed and then cut the wheat and grind it till you make a lechem, a whole avodah. What would have happened before Chedet Hadas? How do I do the void of the field of the soda? A Rebbe is mevar the Teira'ir. It'll be a birur mirachik. Adam and Ish would stand in Gan Eden and shine oils of Zushe to the outside of Gan Eden, and that's how we birurim. He didn't have to come to the outside to be mevarer. But after the Chedet Hadas, now he has to go outside to be mevarer. Al derech, that difference between before Chedet Hadas and after Chedet Hadas, the same thing that it says, the difference between the bir of the midbar before Chet HaMeraglim and after Chet HaMeraglim. Back to the Pnim. The Pashtus Aidei Masois B'nai Yisrael B'midbar. The Pashtus, in simple understanding, through the fact that the Eden were traveling in the Midbar, the clouds, and then they are covered, they would kill all the negative snakes and scorpions. And the Gam, Hofchus, and Midbar, this Midbar, that was a place that it's not inhabited, people can live there. The Anani Akovit changed it. It killed away all the negative Mechoshim and also transformed the Midbar for a place of inhabited, people can live there. Midbar, says the Rebbe, the Midbar Nivda, Memokim Yishuv, Be'ikar V'shnei. A desert is different than a place that people live in. Two things in general. Aleph, Lo Yoshev Adam Sham, in a desert, nobody lives. It's not inhabited, nobody lives there. And now, Ukishahoyu, Boishish, B'nei Yisrael, when there was 600,000 Eden in the Midbar, Yoshev Adam Sham, it was inhabited. As the Rebbe quotes in the Maramakim 11, and the Gemara Shabbos says, according to one opinion, the Gemara Shabbos says, while the Eden were in Midbar, the Midbar was considered Shusharabim. Why Shusharabim? Because the Eden are there. That's one difference between a Midbar and a Yishuv. Beis, the second difference between a Midbar and a Yishuv is Eretz Lo Zarua. But a Midbar is a place that nothing grows, no vegetation. But when the Eden were in the Midbar, we know there was a miracle that the Be'er Shel Miriam traveled, moved with them wherever the Eden moved, and they camped. The Be'er Shel Miriam was there, so much so that the Medrash tells us that the Be'er Shel Miriam made canals that went between every degel for the 4 degolim, and then it split into between each shevet, so the water came all to the Shvatim. So they had water before the degel, and then the dagger split to all the different places of the Shvatim. So this water of the Be'er Shel Miriam, that would give growth to all kind of grass and all kind of trees and all kind of vegetation. So 2 things is different than Midbar and a Makom Yishuv. One, that a Midbar, a person cannot live, and that changed while the Eden was there. 2, the second thing is, it's not a place of vegetation. Nothing grows there. Well, the Eden was there, it did grow. So the Eden transformed the Midbar to a Makom Yishuv. Says the Rebbe, now we can understand the reason, the primitive of the Kol Pachas. Now we can understand why the Eden were counted a second time. Not the first counting of all the Levim, which is Ben Chodesh L'mayla. The second counting, which is this Parsha Noseh, and the end of Parsha Bamidbar, they're counting Levim, and the Rebbe added, when they wrote the Sicha, and they gave it, the Manichem gave it to the Sicha to the Rebbe added Bim Yuchad. It was a special counting. Ben Shleishu Shanahu Lavi Dosam, the Nesias HaMishkan B'Kelev, for the avoid of the Levim to carry the Mishkan B'Kelim in the Midbar. Shal Yodam Hovchu as a Midbar Le'eretz Nesheves K'nam Lkutei. Because here's a new kind of avodah. There's an avodah of the Levim in the Mishkan, but now there's a special avodah of the Levim. That's why there's a special counting that the Levim have to do now, carry the Orim, the Mishkan B'Kelim in the Midbar and transform Midbar. It's a new thing. Says the Rebbe, Ki Aidei HaMinyan HaMiyuchot B'Nizeh. Through the special counting, Nasa B'Miyuchot B'Zeh Davar Choshev. So therefore they became something Choshev. In particular, but they get to this. That's why the desert will not have an effect on them. The Rebbe quotes a Shalah. A Shalah says that there's a loch in Yeridea that something that's sold by number, like a dozen eggs, is something that's sold by number, it's not bottled b'roiv, because it's sold by number, each one count. When you count the Eden became Davar Choshev, lay bottle. But here's a second counting, a counting of Miyuchot counting. This Miyuchot counting is for what? An extra cheshivas. An extra cheshivah that the midbar should not have an effect on them, and they could change the midbar. But the Eden, the Levim now could take the midbar, transform the midbar to Eretz Yeshavas. Ois Gimel. Oh, now we understand that the answer why the Eden were in the midbar 40 years, Birurim. And why the Eden were counted again, an extra cheshivas. Counting is an extra cheshivas. Says the Rebbe, Inyan zeh lasid mimidbar eretz Sheves. This idea to transform a midbar, a vast desert, to an eretz Sheves, inhabited land, and the koyach that's given to us, Numayla, how the Eibishter gives the koyach, the Eibishter commands us to count, which the commandment is the koyach of the Eibishter to give us the power to count and make him choshev. That is an eternal thing. Says the Rebbe, now we're getting close to the answer of the Sicha. What's the hirah of the counting of the Levim, today's Pashut, for today's times? In today's times also, we have the ability of the koyach to count and become a dover choshev. And the choshev, why? To transform the midbar to makom Shabbos. Says the Rebbe, what does it mean in today's times? Look what the Rebbe writes. When a person contemplates, he's going to think in the surroundings where he lives. The pa'amim he consumed, sometimes it could be that the surroundings where he lives, he might look around his surroundings and say, hey, where I live, my neighborhood, is a place where the Adam Ha'elyen, that Rebbe says, the Yoshev Adam, not Kipshute, which means no people live. Adam Ha'elyen, the Eibishter, is not being reckoned, it's not there. It's not Yoshev B'Syash's there. Why? Maybe many people, majority of people in his surroundings, in his neighborhood, maybe they don't know about godliness, which is the Adam Ha'elyen. And continue on a second level. And let's say that his neighborhood are those who do know about godliness. And in his neighborhood, let's say, is a better neighborhood. And there are those who are awake themselves to conduct themselves according to the Eibishter. There's no perfect person in the world. There's no person in the world that's perfect. It doesn't have any chet. What does chet mean? Chet does not mean a sin. Chet means akaponim yachser mikidboilem hever. Shetzorach liz b'avidose. What chet means? He didn't do as much as he can do. The Rebbe science, it's a beautiful Gemara. The Gemara tells us in Ksubis that the Chachamim who were giving out stipend support for poor people, for poor Eden, and they were walking and they saw a woman collecting soil and barley from the waste of animals. The animals running on the street and there's waste over there. And between the waste, they were looking for the barley. So the Chacham stopped the woman and asked, who are you? He said, I'm the daughter of Nakdim ben Gurion. So the Chacham were astonished. Nakdim ben Gurion, the wealthy person, he was one of the three wealthy persons that the Gemara tells us in Gemara Gittin, that when there was a siege on Yerushalayim for 3 years, there were 3 wealthy people that covered and gave food and shelter and heating for the whole Yerushalayim. One was Nakdim ben Gurion. You're Nakdim ben Gurion's daughter. What happened to your father's money? So she said, doesn't the Chacham say if you want to save money, you have to give tzedakah? So they said, but your father gave tzedakah. So she says, but he did not give kidaboyilim. He didn't give what he should have given. So to avoid it, even though he gave a lot of tzedakah, he supported a third of Yerushalayim. But it wasn't kidaboyilim ever, so therefore he lost all his money. So the Rebbe says also, a person can think in my neighborhood, people are doing good things, but they don't do kidaboyilim ever. Therefore, maybe he'll say that the neighborhood I live in is a place the Rebbe underlines Yoshev, that it's not Bisyashu. The Eibishter might be there because there are people here in his neighborhood that know God and get lachkeit and they do the right things, but not always, and not kidaboyilim hever. Therefore, the Eibishter not Bisyash was there. Ki Adam ha'elyon and Enesham Eibishter Bisyash was. Kviz, not there, because sometimes either some people don't do right, or even a person who doesn't do completely at that level, it's not Bisyashus. Therefore, the person who is serving Hashem might think and contemplate, become depressed. I live in a place of it's a midbar. In my ear is a midbar, and therefore, what is he going to come to conclusion? He's going to drop his shlichus ba'aniyei ircha. The Rebbe added this to the lashon of the Sicha, ba'aniyei ircha, He's going to drop his shlichus to your people of your city, of your neighborhood. The lonus, the mokamach, is going to run away to another place. Says the Rebbe, al zeh bo ha'hira. That comes the lesson of our parsha, and the lesson is eternal. The Rebbe says, linsoya b'midbar. The lesson is, just like the Eden went to desert 40 years, you have to go on shlichus, go mitzvayim to the desert, and change it, transform it. Kinesiyas b'nei Yisrael b'midbar, should be parsha saying. Just like in our parsha, where the Eden went to midbar in our parsha, just like they're traveling in midbar, just like the Eibishter told Eden by command, go into the midbar, and the Eden transformed the midbar to a place of inhabitants. So too every Yid, bechol hasman, in all times, in our times as well. In any place where he finds himself, even if your place is a vast desert, it's a midbar, and as I ever said before, there are different levels of midbar. Midbar could mean that the people in your town don't know about godliness, or it could be a people in your town do know, but they don't do Wilhelm have. The fact that you're there, not by choice, not by chance that you came there, you're there as a shlich of the Eibishter. The Eibishter counts your footsteps. He prepares your footsteps. So why are you there? That you should transform the midbar through Yavodah to a place where the Eibishter could live there and could be settled there. And according to the Rambam writes in Yad HaChazaka in Hilch Shmita B'Yevel, says the Rambam, not only Shevet Levi, Elakol Ish V'ish, every person. The Rebbe adds in Ha'ara 22, a Gemara in Ksubis. The Gemara in Ksubis says, what does the pasuk mean? Ish V'ish Yulad Ba. The Gemara said that people are going to attack who is born in Yerushalayim. So why does it say two times Ish? Ish v'ish yulad bo. Ish and Ish are born there. Says the Rebbe, the Gemara Ksubah says, there are those that were born there, and there are those who are desired to be there. They're also going to be called a Ish Sion. The same thing is here. There could be a Levi who was born a Levi, but it could be those who are not born a Levi, but they want to be a Levi. I should not say. Any person, any Yisrael who wants to donate his spirit, and he wants his energy, and he wants to serve Hashem, says the Rebbe, based on that Rambam, if his spirit only is menadiv, only has his willing, if we decide that we want to be a Levi, the Eibusha will give us milmayla, our energy and our power and our cheshivas, that we won't be bottled in klipa, or medagal, not only won't be bottled from level of the three levels of the household of the Levim. The Bnei Gershon, it says noses reish gam. What does it mean? Nesias reish b'tzinev legodli menu. What does it mean? Gam. That by Gershon it said Nesias reish gam also, which means they're also two Bnei Kahos. By the Dag of Bnei Kahos, Nesias reish b'fnei atzmai. By the Zeh b'cholte lases mokum himotzai gamim b'tchilhoi midbar drileis baruch. If we only, any Yid, decides to go on shlichus and want to do the avodah of a Levi, the Eibusha is going to give him the koyach and the chshivas that he won't be nispol from the world or from the midbar. Not only won't be nispol, he can change the midbar and he can grow and do two levels. First, he can have the siyas reish gam, which is Bnei Gershon, and then it can be the siyas reish of Bnei Kos. Says the Rebbe is Dalet. This lesson, this teaching that the Torah is teaching us in our parsha eternally, so this path, the ois hey, the Rebbe says how the lesson of the counting of the Eden of Bnei Levi and the lesson of the Tzivui is eternal by talking about changing the world, changing somebody else, changing my neighborhood. Now, his dollars can talk about affecting myself. When a person makes a correct accountability, what went through his life. So sometimes he'll come to a conclusion. A person might make a recollection of all his ma'asim from when he was childhood, and they come to a conclusion that most of his hanhage was a midbar. What does a midbar mean? It's vast from kedusha. By the he might come to yish. He might come to give up. What is he going to say? He'll think, how can I change myself? I'm so much deep into the negative, into midbar life. How can I change myself? If he did it something twice, the Chazal tell us a person does something not negative twice, he gets the feeling that he's allowed to do it. So he has that feeling of heter, and now we expect him to change himself. How can he change himself? So he'll be miyush. The Rebbe adds something. This is added b'ksav yad after the Sichois was written. What does the Rebbe add here? Chazal tell us if you do something twice, over v'shana, not like a heter. The Rebbe adds, what happens if he does it more than twice, 3 times? Even worse. Why worse? Then it's called a hergel, a rogel. And if you're rogel, not a hergel, not like teva. So if it's your teva, how do you expect to change a teva? Very difficult. So he might fall into a yiyush. So here the pasuk gives a lesson. Not only the lesson how we can change somebody else, the midbar, but to change ourselves. Just like Bnei Levi. Just like Bnei Levi was 30 years and older when they served in the masa, the carrying of the Mishkan Bekelah. Until then, they didn't serve in the Averis Mishkan carrying the Kelim. Nevertheless, even though they didn't do it before, and right on the age of 30 and above, the Eibishter gave them the ability, not only koyach, but to rise above. From now on, from now on, they can carry the Mishkan. They can transform the midbar l'makom yishuv. And he did so. So since a person could make a cheshbon, I went through so many years of my life, and it's a life of midbar. How could I change? The lesson is, just like the Levim, at one moment, when they had to move, the Eibishter told them, now you have the courage to move and take the Mishkan and transform the midbar. So too, even though you had many years till now, that was midbar life, you could change it to a life of kedusha. The Rebbe says in Order 27, the Rebbe said, even though the halach is that the Levim have to learn and practice for 5 years, and then after 5 years practice, then they can work in the Averis HaMishkan. So why do we say here that right away you get the koyach? The Rebbe answers because that was later on. But the first time they were traveling in the midbar, the first travel, there was no preparation, there was no akdama. Right away after travel, so right away they were given the koyach to take the Mishkan, the Caleb, and the midbar and transform it. So too, we can have a lesson for the right away. Right away, we can make a cheshbon, even though we will have a negative life of midbar, we can change it. Says the Rebbe, Kain hu b'cholach so too is every yid. Shemibli habet al matzovish adachshav, not looking on the situation till now. Bim yachlit, if he only decides and he commits himself, shemikanu lahav, from now on, yam ilifnei Hashem, from now on, I'm going to serve Hashem. But if he just makes that commitment, David will give him the koyach the tireless atzmi to purify himself. Earlier, the Rebbe said in order 19, the Rebbe spoke about that. The Rebbe said not only tireless atzmi, the tireless achedim. But here it talks about the tireless atzmi. The tireless atzmi. You're given the koyach to purify yourself, as begodim, and also your begodim. What's the begodim of a person? The call her and Yonah built to the tzuyim from all the things which are negative. He can transform all his previous years of living living a life of midbar, transform it to a life of kedusha. And to draw down getlichkeit on his nefesh, and on him will be said now, now the Rebbe shall rest in him. The Rebbe shall rest in him. The Rebbe explains in Hora 19, in Hora 19, the Rebbe says, we're telling the Hayra from our Parsha to go travel to Mokum Midbar, go out to a place of desert, and change the desert. Shlichus. Like the Rebbe, the Rama pasking that if you find yourself in a place of negative people, and you might be influenced by them, move from that city. So how do we tell a person to go to a midbar when the Rama pasking that you have to go away from a negative city? The Rebbe says in 119 a very powerful hara. The Rebbe says if you are a person that's going to become influenced from other people, you're right, you have to go away from there. But if you make a achlote, I'm going to change the world. I won't be in a spol. I want to be a Levi person. I want to take the order in the Mishkan in the desert. The Eibush gives you a koyach and a chshivas to be able to do that, and that's a koyach of the Eibush shlichus. To commit yourself, then you change the world. The world won't change you. Ois hey. In order for the person, which is the Hira of Ois Dalit, and the Sviv, which is the Hira of Ois Gimel, should become a dwelling place for the Eibishter. Have to be avoided in the two kav of avodah. Surah Merah, take away all the negative and bring in good. The example of a king, when you want to prepare a palace for the king, you have to clean out the heichol, full of dirt. Then you bring in the nice, beautiful furniture. So too is by making a dwelling place for the Eibusher. You have to have Surah Mirah, and then say Surah Mirah is taking away the dirt of the room. And then I say that's also hinted in the avodah of Bnei Gershon, the Bnei Gershon, the Bnei Kahos who carried the Mishkan. Gershon, the name Gershon, Lashon Gedushin, chasing away. Surah Meirah, take away the bad. Kahos, Lashon Veloy Yikas Amim. To him will gather many nations. What does it mean? Asifas the kibbutz inyonim hatovim, gathering and collecting all the good things. I say to you. So it has to be the avodah of Gershon and the avodah of Kahos. And the Rebbe writes in the Hora 30 that Merodi is an extension a little bit to Gershon. Gershon is Miridus, Gershon is the Surmirah, and Merodi is Surmirah. Ukamai says the Rebbe, Gershon lefnei Kahos, just like Gershon was born before Kahos. Keinu gam seder avodah, shebetchilas harachli is Surmirah. First have to be the avodah of Surmirah, cleaning. And then as we say to the dugmas sidra kelim noim, just like preparing the good nice furniture, after cleaning from all the dirt. So the Rebbe is in order 24. So if that's the case, how come counting of Bnei Kahos was a parsha by Midbar, and the counting of Bnei Gershon was our parsha? If we say that Gershon was born first, it has to be Surmirah first. That's to say the avodah. So how come Kahos was mentioned in Parsha Bamidbar earlier? And the Rebbe was out to explain. The Rebbe said, the end of the order, the Rebbe says, because we know, Soif Masev Machshav Tchila. What's the end of the end was Eibush Tevil? Ma'aser Tov, Asay Tov. That's the Kavana Keduma. But in order to reach the Asay Tov, you have to clean out the negative. So since the Kavana Keduma HaKodem is Asay Tov, that's why in counting Kahos early first. But the Seder way is first has to be Surmirah. Ois Vav. V'ulois ha'avodah the Surmirah b'asei toiv muvonim heim achiluk shebei Maseh b'nei Gershon the Maseh b'nei Kahos. The accomplishment of the avodah Surmirah and the accomplishment of the avodah Asay Toiv will be understood from the different carrying of Bnei Gershon carried and Bnei Kahos carried. Bnei Gershon noser ha'yiriyas ha'mishkan. Bnei Gershon carried the coverings of the Mishkan. Mash'enke Bnei Kahos noser klei ha'mishkan. B'nei Kahos carry the Kalim Mishkan, the Oren, the Shulchan Chulu. The Rebbe writes in Order 30 that Ben Merari carried the Kroshim. Kroshim and Yeriyas are similar. What is similar? V'achilik ben ha-Yeriyas Chulu. V'akelim hu sha-Yeriyas makifim u'maginim. The Yeriyas are surrounding us and protect us. So too is Kroshim. This is Gershim, makifim. Mashenken ha-Kelim. The Kalim, each Kalim has individual avodah. Orein ha'edos, shulchan delechem cholaponim. In other words, it's not makim, it's primi. Makim is surrounds everything, the whole mishkan, everything in it. Mashenkin the Kalim, so kahos goes into the individual Kalim. Mashenkin the Gershim is makim making complete everything. V'yonim avodah. Surmira shlila magina l'adam me'asar umazike. Surmira protects a person from something which is bad and something that could be masakim, klipa. I say toiv, I see as mitzvim shem edus, and also yad amachaleket tzedakah. The hand that handles tzedakah nasis merkov mamish becomes merkov to Eibishter. So what is I say toiv? I say toiv is mitzvahs. Is mitzvahs, protesting mitzvahs. By day, beis avodas through these two avodas, nasa mishkan v'direla is bar b'shtem musaf. Through the avodas, it becomes the shechati the seicham, that we become mishkan and our world becomes the mishkan, and the Rebbe should help should be talking our days that the world should recognize, and we should be able to make a direla is bar b'tachtenim taking me out mamish. Sichois.
Amen. Shkach. My father has to go to Mincha in the middle, but I'll tell you.
Moshe